All right, welcome everybody to another market review, all right, another weekly market review. I want to take you through what happened throughout this entire week. We got some pretty exciting stuff that happened, okay? Our big tech companies like Apple, Google, Amazon all announced their earnings this week. Okay, we had the Federal Reserve also announce their interest rate hikes, and some news also related to employment change as well. Okay, so let's go through all of that during this weekly market review video. Okay, so again, my usual disclaimer, this is not financial advice, and any opinions that we make and set out on our social media is just our personal views and are not necessarily the views held by our group. All right, so what happened during this week? So we've got some news on Walmart. Okay, so again, Walmart, pretty decent company. I'll share a little bit about the charts on this later on, but it's weathered through the stock market pretty decently, all right, in a time where most stocks are down. It's weathered it pretty decently. And reason why is because apparently the grocery business is one of the biggest in the country, even with supply chain issues and also staffing imbalances. Okay, most companies are also getting rid of their staff and cutting into their margins. They still are relying on their strength of low-cost grocery offerings to lure in even higher income shoppers who are looking for value. So those shoppers who are of higher income, again, looking for maximum value, all right, affordability, they are still tapping onto this size and this network of people and allowing the business to come in. So they're still maintaining their overall health as well. They also have a new store format that they have rolled out in their stores. Some are saying it reminds them of Target, but they are turning heads, and some of the bigger population areas in the States are taking notice on this. All right, so Walmart, pretty good company, good stock that has weathered through these times. Again, it's not financial advice, but I thought it was pretty interesting that this stock, Walmart, has traded pretty decently and has managed during these tough times pretty well. Okay, now next thing, a good news for the global world and economic outlook. Okay, the International Monetary Fund boosted its growth forecast to 2.9%, previously from 2.7%. So again, economic growth was resilient, and there was growth in the third quarter of last year. It also hint or signaled that there were strong labor markets. That means jobs were good, okay? Robust household consumption. That means consumers or everyday consumers like you and I, we are still consuming goods as per normal. Consumption or spending is still high. And business investments by companies and other big multinational corporations are still strong and better than what they expected. Okay, so again, despite the energy crisis and what's going on right now, still, right, these things are still intact. We still have strong labor, all right, we still have strong consumption and spending by consumers, and businesses are still making decent amount of investments into a growing economy, right? So this is good for the global macro outlook, right? What's happening in the entire world. Now, in terms of the European companies and the Eurozone, okay, it also helped to ease fears of a global recession by showing that there was a growth in the fourth quarter of the year last year for the European sectors and countries, okay? Now, again, guys, despite this good news, we still have inflation that is rather high. Of course, it has peaked at 9.1% in the States. It has come down to approximately 6.5% right now. And we also still have a war that's going on in Russia and Ukraine. And these two macroeconomic factors still pose some risk to the world economy as well. So something to take note of, right? So we have good news right now. Things are looking pretty decent. But again, there's still two of these factors to take note of that we're not out of the woods yet, right? So interesting news that came, some positive news this week. Next, right? So Meta also announced its earnings, okay? And it had a rough 2022. So as you know, guys, Meta stock price dropped drastically in the year of 2022. But it had a recent rally this week. It had a gap up. We can take a look at the charts later on. But it had a gap up after it reported its earnings, about 20% move up. And reason being is because Mark Zuckerberg came out and gave the guidance that on what most analysts and investors were actually expecting. Okay, so Mark Zuckerberg said the company is going to focus on becoming a stronger and more nimble organization. So that means it's, again, if you have seen, all our big tech companies have been cutting their workforces. So they're going to, again, maintain a small organization, a nimble organization, and one that is still equally as strong. Okay, so Meta said they are planning to cut their total expenses for 2023, and they're also going to trim non-performing projects, okay, or unimportant projects. Okay, so they're just going to be focusing on things or the core business and things which they really see that can bring the company's future into bigger heights, right? So nothing unimportant, just ones that are going to maintain the company and grow them to bigger heights. So because of this, investors loved hearing this. It was about 20% move up for Meta. And at the same time, even though there was so much positivity, something to take note, guys, right? So even though Meta had a good move up, really something I want you guys to take note of, their Reality Labs project. So Reality Labs, for those of you who don't know, is Meta's attempt in building the metaverse in terms of having a remote work environment, the future of our work environment where everything is going to be virtual and online, with avatars for ourselves and even virtual offices and boardrooms. Okay, now this project, even though it's their core focus, as of now, guys, it's lost about 13.7 billion for the last year. Okay, and they are not planning to make any cutback as of now. So again, with any new project, guys, it's normal, all right, for a company to burn through a bit of money and to really push forward with their R&D until they make it right. But again, a lot is riding on this project because they literally renamed their company to Meta, and they're trying to build this metaverse for themselves. So again, so far, nothing has really yielded concretely yet. It's still a project that's losing money. I think it's something to take note and take worthy of if you're an investor of Meta or considering investing in Meta stock. Okay. Now, what else happened during the week? So during the week, we had our federal funds rate. So on Thursday, 3 a.m. Singapore time, what happened was Jerome Powell came on and basically he talked about interest rates. And like he said, they already planned with the Federal Reserve to increase rates to terminal rates of 5 to 5.25%. Okay, so right now, again, previous interest was 4.50. They increased it by 25 basis points or 0.25%. And it's what analysts forecasted and what was actually achieved. Okay, so they did increase it to 4.75%. So everything is in line to what we expected. Analysts were not shocked about this. So because of this, we had a move up in the markets, all right? SPY flew up and NASDAQ QQQ, all right? NASDAQ 100 actually flew up as well. Another thing that we had, so on Friday as well, we had non-farm employment change. Now, for those of you who don't know what this is, very simply, this is about job creation. How many jobs were created? And again, job creation is normally an important indicator or factor, guys, when you account for overall economic growth or activity. Okay, so it showed us that even in an environment where your big tech companies are laying off individuals, okay, the analysts also forecasted that they were only expecting about 193K in terms of job creations. But what actually happened was, okay, you can see over here, guys, about 2 to 3 times, right, about 2.5 times worth more. So when the actual data came out, it was about 2.5 times more, which means 517K worth of new jobs and jobs creation was actually made. Okay, so in an environment where these big tech companies are laying off individuals, a lot of new jobs are being created to service this as well. So this is a positive news for the economy, something the economy likes hearing when you're looking at growth and future forecasting of growth. Okay, so I think it's pretty great as well that, you know, it really exceeded by about 2.5 times. So because of this, again, market loved hearing this and reacted rather positive to it as well. Okay, now I'm done with the news for this entire week. So what I want to focus on now is the charts, how our indexes were doing and how some of the events this week actually affected the charts. And I'm going to tell you where this week can possibly go for the markets. All right, everybody. So we are on the charts. Let me go ahead and bring up the S&P 500. Okay, our SPY. You can see it on the top left-hand corner of here. SPY, S&P 500. We are on a 1 year, 1 day chart, right? Which is what I look at normally. So you can see, again, guys, if you look at my previous video, I told you guys, if we had a bullish move up on the indexes, we could reach up to 417, right? My 417 price level. And lo and behold, guys, we actually went up to my 417 over here. So you can see prices went up to around 417 level. And now it is come down a little bit, right? So it's hit a little bit of a resistance down there and it's come down a little bit. So where can we possibly go this week? Again, I think after such a move up during this week, it may need to cool down and come down for a bit, all right? So if it comes back down, I am probably seeing it come down to around the 408 level. If it moves even more drastically down, then it could possibly go all the way to our 400 level, which is around my 200 EMA level, right? So you can see over here, my green line is my 200 EMA level. It can possibly move around that range, right? About 400 to 408. That's where I see the markets. Now, if it does move up, all right, then we may see it go into past this range in between my 417 to 430 range, right? That's why I see it going in between this range of 417 to 430. And we have a resistance around the 430 area. So that's why I say I see it moving in this channel over here. Now, again, I am not with certainty on where the direction will go. But if I look at my RSI and my MACD, I can see that my RSI is also at about overbought levels, all right? Overbought levels, just under my 70 level. And typically, if you can see previously as well, when we reach around these high levels, it actually had a pullback in the market. So with this as well, because it's at overbought levels, I think for this week, we are due a little bit of a pullback on the S&P 500. Okay, MACD as well. All right, so for MACD as well, we can see it going up. All right, momentum has been green all the way. But I think in this coming week, we may need a little bit of a breather and likely our S&P 500 may move down. Our stocks may come down for a little bit. All right. Now, in terms of our NASDAQ 100, our QQQ, so we can see over here, same thing, all right? I drew my 310 price level on the previous video, and you can see that's where our prices have hit. And now we are starting to have a little bit of a bounce down. So again, same thing on the RSI, you can see it's at overbought levels too. So if it does come down, I do see it coming down to around the 300 and around my 200 EMA level, right? So my 200 EMA is about 295. Okay, so around the 295 to 300 level, that's where I see prices coming down if it does make that move down. If the bullish momentum continues, then I'm looking at it hitting my anywhere from my 320 to 330 price level for itself. Okay, now in terms of what other news or how the news that happened throughout the week impacted the markets. So if we take a look firstly at my 15-minute chart, so let me go ahead and open that, guys. Okay, right. So you can see here on this day on my NASDAQ 100 QQQ, the moment our interest rate hikes were announced, there was this massive spike up. Okay, it met what analysts required. Everybody was expecting this massive spike up, and we had bullish momentum that carried on in our indexes. And this carried on all the way until the next day as well. Okay, on my SPY as well, S&P 500, guys, same thing. I was watching the markets over here. We had this huge bullish move once interest rates hike were announced. The moment market closed, okay, we went sideways, and then when it opened up the next day, right, when it opened up the next day, you can see over here, we went up all the way to high of 418 for ourselves, right? Went up to a high of 418. So again, this caused some significant bullish move in the markets. All right. Now, that's it so far for the charts. I shared a little bit about Walmart just now, so I just want to show you guys on Walmart again. Okay, so for the year, pretty okay for itself. The only massive move down it had was because of this earnings over here. It had a significant gap down. But in terms of their recovery and how they moved, they've had a pretty steady recovery for the year. Again, if you took advantage of buying during this time because of their earnings and you saw the potential of this business, pretty good returns that you would have made for yourself as a long-term stock investor and holder on this stock, right? So yeah, pretty interesting stuff for Walmart. In terms of our big tech companies, so again, we look at Apple, right? Apple also announced their earnings. You can see for Apple, right? Apple RSI is at overbought levels for itself. Okay. Amazon is also at overbought levels for itself as well. You can see Google, right? Google is also at overbought levels. So all our big tech stocks, guys, are all at overbought levels, which is why I'm leaning to this week in the markets, having a little bit of a come down, having a little bit of a pullback before we know where we can go next. Okay, so that's it for the charts. Now let's go ahead and take a look at what events are happening in the upcoming week so we can trade safely and we can see how to water this coming week. All right, guys. So what to look out for in this upcoming week? Well, it's going to be very simple. Firstly, we have Federal Reserve Jerome Powell, who is actually going to be speaking. This is going to be on Wednesday at 1 a.m. for ourselves. So again, what he says normally cause a little bit of volatility and shakeups in the market. So I'm going to be paying attention to this and see exactly what he says and where we are at now in terms of the economy, in terms of the monetary policy and how that's going to affect the market. So if you're trading, guys, just take note of this 1 a.m. on Wednesday. This is what you got to look out for. Okay. All right. Now, apart from that, there's nothing really major in terms of events for the upcoming week. I want to just add in this. So February 14 on Valentine's Day, CPI data is going to be coming out. All right. So CPI data, guys, as you know, is a measure of inflation on consumer pricing. And again, if inflation is coming down and easing down, then inflation for consumers should be easing off as well. Okay, so this is an important data for the markets. It's not going to be happening next week, but the following week. So I just wanted to add this here, guys. Take note of this. CPI is coming out on February 14, Valentine's Day. It's going to be an important data to pay attention for the markets. Okay. Now, guys, this week we had, again, some volatile events that happened with employment change, big tech earnings that were announced, even interest rate hikes by Jerome Powell and the Federal Reserve. But despite all of that, okay, the team and myself and our community were trading this volatility and were making daily profits or daily income for themselves, all right? So if you don't believe me, have a look, guys, and see. This is literally our community trade log. There's full transparency here. And these were the trades that our community members were taking, all right, to really weather this volatile week, all right? And you can see the kind of returns that they were making, guys, all right? So for small portfolios, $59 for the day. For those that had slightly more for themselves, making, close to $1,000 for themselves for the day, about $770 for themselves for the day. Okay, some of them making 1.2K for the day for themselves, another 1.1K, another $300, 748 for themselves, $90, $60. Okay, I have so many of these guys making returns. I can't even fit it on one page, guys. Right? I literally have another page where they're just making returns for themselves. Okay, you got $100 over here, extra $200 in your pocket, 75 over here, 535, 345. Again, $200, $100. So again, whether you're a big portfolio or a small portfolio, these guys were making returns and weathering the volatile markets that we're in now. Okay, so again, if you can trade this kind of bear market and this kind of volatile market, guys, when the markets do come back to normal and are on normal market conditions, I tell you, you're going to make exceptional returns for yourself, right? So this is what the community is doing, and this is transparently their results for themselves. So again, if you're not part of the community yet, it's okay. We have a free Discord, guys. We have a free Discord and free community where I share weekly market videos like this, and any free resources that we have, we also post it over there. All right. So if you have not joined our free Discord yet, here is the link, guys. It is bit.ly/IWC Discord. And if you don't know or can't key in the link, it's all right. I have a QR code that is over here. Just go ahead, whip out your handphone and scan the QR code, okay? I repeat, guys, it's bit.ly/IWC Discord, or you can scan the QR code with your handphone and join our free Discord and community, right? And this is where I'll post weekly market review videos, and I'll also post any resources or interesting stuff related to the stock market to improve your knowledge or trading for yourself. Okay, so with that, I come to the end of the video, guys. That's all from me. It was a pleasure again sharing this knowledge with you guys. So again, take care in the upcoming week, stay safe, and I will see you next week for another video. All right, take care, guys.